The following is a presentation of the Fairfax Network.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos. Welcome to our World Tour Language Series and to our program number 7 of the Spanish series. My name is Mrs. Ada. Me llamo Doña Ada. And I would like to present to you all the objectives that we are going to cover today, as in any class. For our lesson, we have more about Mexico, review the possessives that we have already introduced, clothing, and numbers. And we will try to cover as much as possible following the objectives. I would like to give you a little bit of the culture. We are in Mexico at this time, and I would like to start with showing you the flag of Mexico. The flag of Mexico, and I would really like to take a little time to explain the emblem of this flag in the middle. In the center of the flag, we have an eagle-like emblem. And let me just explain you a little bit. This was the eagle that the last empire of Indians, the Aztecs, found. It is said that they found the city of Tenochtitlan, which is now the city of Mexico, and that it was a promised city. They were told that if they would find an eagle standing on a cactus, that was the site for their sacred city. And they called this city the Tenochtitlan. And I like to say that Tenochtitlan was a great city compared to that of Venice. It had canals instead of streets, and it was a great sacred center of Mexico. Now, having talked about our city and the Indians, we will tomorrow, I believe, we will present some more of the Indians of Mexico. At this point, I'd like to talk about possessives that we yesterday went through quite a number of rules on the possessive, and I would like to review that with you now. Let's talk about possessive phrases, because we already have learned the rules on how to make possessive. Let's talk about es, el, la, and then de. Now, what it basically means here is it is, let's do a sentence with this. It is Sarah's book. Let's say we want to say it is Sarah's book, all right? So, es el libro. We put that libro where there is the first line here, and then de Sara. So Sara comes last, not like in English, unlike in English. So es el libro de Sara. And we say el because libro, it's masculine. And then de, and then the name of the person we're talking about. So es el libro de Sara. That is possessive. It is Sarah's book. And so let's ask ourselves, if we want to ask ourselves, who is it? Or whose is it? Whose is it, rather? Whose is it? ¿De quién es el? And then we put the noun there. So let's say we're talking about libros still, and we say, ¿de quién es el libro? ¿De quién es el libro? And if you have a feminine noun, you can add the la and the feminine. So if we want to answer this, ¿de quién es el libro? We say, es el libro del estudiante. So it is this boy student's book, and that is why we say del. Now let's pause here carefully and look at it very carefully. Es el libro del estudiante. Why is it del? Because estudiante we're talking about a boy student. So when it's masculine that we're talking about, we are going to do that contraction that we did yesterday, del estudiante. Now, if it's a girl student, we say, es el libro de la estudiante. It is the student girl's book. It is the student's book. So, es el libro de la estudiante. Now, suppose we're talking about many boy students that own a book. So, let's say, es el libro de los estudiantes. Notice we don't have contraction in those two that we have just talked about. Es el libro de los estudiantes. Now, lastly, suppose we're talking about a group of girl students that own a book. So we say, es el libro de las estudiantes. Es el libro de las estudiantes. And let's say we want to practice with another noun that we have already learned. Let's say, whose money is it? Whose money is it? ¿De quién es el dinero? ¿De quién es el dinero? Whose money it is? ¿De quién es el dinero? And let's see this picture. Let's see this picture and see how we say this. That's right. Muy bien. Es dinero. Dinero. That's money. Dinero. So, ¿de quién es el dinero that we just see? And we can answer just the same. Es el dinero de María. Es el dinero de José. Es el dinero de los hombres. Es el dinero de las mujeres o de las señoras. Now, let's practice with those nouns that we have been using like books. Let's say, whose books are they? Whose books are they? So we say, ¿de quién son los libros? ¿De quién son los libros? And there we have it. It is on plural, masculine. Now, if we were going to use a feminine, we say, ¿de quién son las plumas? Using a noun that is feminine. So let's get back to libros. ¿De quién son los libros? How would you answer that? I want to hear you first. Muy bien. The books son los libros de. The books are son los libros de José. Let's say we use José as an example. Or just use your name. Son los libros de Gregorio. Son los libros de Nicolás. And so if we were going to use, instead of libros, a word that is feminine, again, I'm going to use plumas, we say, son las plumas de María, son las plumas de José. So let's see what we have here next. Son los libros, and we're using maestro, del maestro. What is maestro? What is maestro? Yes, it is teacher. Son los libros del maestro. And you see the contraction there because it's one person, one maestro, and it's masculine. Then, son los libros de la maestra. Read it out loud with me. Son los libros de la maestra. All right, so that is feminine and it is singular, de la maestra. Although we have many books, it's only one person who owns it. Now, let's say many teachers own many books. And they're all male teachers. So, son los libros de los maestros. Son los libros de los maestros. And female teachers, son los libros. See, that is masculine, and then we go to the female. De las, feminine, de las maestras. So, son los libros de las maestras. So, what's happening here is that the possessive is going to agree with the possessor, with the person who possessed the nouns or the items. I'd like to invite you to study these rules and study this lesson very slowly. I understand it's not very easy to absorb everything at once. So page 36, 37 through 37, and page 55, we also use possessive pronouns. So keep practicing, because practicing makes it perfect. Language, you need to practice. A language you need to speak, and you need to practice. Now, as I promised, every now and then we're going to come up with 5 words with the 5 letters of the alphabet, and I have already presented some of them. We're going now to start with R. And here we have ere, and we have raíz. Say it with me, raíz. Now, raíz is a root of a plant, of a tree. Raíz, and it has an accent, and it ends in Z, raíz. Now, double R, carroza. See? Carroza. It's a very strong R, carroza. Rolls those R, carroza. And that means a float in a parade or a carriage, carroza. S, Saturno. Oh, that's a given. I think you can guess what is that. Saturno. That's the planet Saturn. Saturno. And then T, tránsito. Tránsito. Now in English it's traffic. Tránsito, el tránsito. The traffic in the street, traffic. Tránsito. And then U, uniforme. See how I pronounce that U? Uniforme. It's almost like double O pronunciation in English. Uniforme. Uniform. A uniform you wear or something that is uniform. And so, having presented all these, the review and the alphabet letters, let's go to clothing. And this is something new in this series that we just started. Let's start with a blouse. And I'm going to say it out loud. It's almost like in English. Una blusa. When you look at these nouns and these new words, please make sure you notice the articles when they're feminine and when they're masculine. Okay? Una blusa. Very good. Muy bien. Let's go to the next one. Los pantalones. That's a very long one. What do you think that is? Los pantalones. That's a pair of pants. Los pantalones, pants or trousers. Los pantalones. Now, if you were saying one pantalón, you can take the ES, it's perfectly all right, and then you add an accent on the O. But for now, you say los pantalones, pair of pants. And let's see this one, a bathing suit. Un traje de baño. That's a long one. Un traje de baño. Traje is a suit or a dress. De, it's again a possessive, and then baño, it's the bathroom. Literally, baño means bathroom. But here is a bathing suit because bathing comes from the word bath. So it's un traje de baño. It's a bathing suit. Traje de baño. Don't lose those J's, pronunciation like an H. And then we go to a shirt. Una camisa. You see here, it's a shirt, male shirt. It's still a feminine word. Una camisa. Camisa. That's a shirt. And let's go to this one, a raincoat. Un impermeable. Oh, that's a very, very long word. Un impermeable. Notice that word doesn't end in A, doesn't end in O, and yet it is a masculine word. Un impermeable. There are many words in Spanish and in E that are masculine. Un impermeable. Maybe if you have some knowledge of French, that sounds like a French word as well. And let's go to an umbrella. And we have this one, un paraguas. Paraguas. Say it with me. Un paraguas. That there are countries that we use instead of paraguas, like in my country, in Puerto Rico, we say una sombrilla. And it means the same, an umbrella. Sombrilla. Notice that word sombrilla. Sombrilla comes from the word sombra. That is a shadow. And that's exactly, if it's sunny, like in Puerto Rico, so sunny, we use a sombrilla to cover us from the sun. So, una sombrilla. It is an umbrella as well as un paraguas. Now, notice that one is masculine, ending in S, and the other is a feminine. And let's go to another item of clothing, un abrigo. Abrigo. Abrigo is to cover you. So this is a coat, un abrigo. G, with the O becomes a G sound, abrigo. And then let's see, a pair of shoes, un par de zapatos. Now, sometimes in other places we say un par de zapatos. That's perfectly all right. Un par de zapatos or un par de zapatos. And un par, of course, it means a pair. De means of, and zapatos is shoes. Un par de zapatos. And we have a t-shirt. And a t-shirt is almost like a shirt. We only add those letters. So it's una camiseta. Remember we said camisa at the beginning? Now it's una camiseta. Camiseta is a t-shirt. Una camiseta, and it's a feminine word. And we go to a dress. Un vestido. Un vestido. These words you can find in your workbook, so study them and look at them. It's un vestido. This is a dress. Vestido comes from the word vestir. Vestir is an action word that means to wear something, to put on something. And we have another clothing item, a skirt. A skirt. Una falda. Falda also means lap. And so una falda is what we wear in our lap. Una falda. Falda. Well, I just, having introduced all these number of words, it's just amazing how many do we have here. And it only needs to be practice and practice and practice. When you put an item on, you just say it in Spanish. Oh, I'm going to wear una falda. I'm going to wear un vestido. I'm going to put un par de pantalones or un par de zapatos. Say it out loud and tell people, oh, you're wearing una falda. And so with all these words, I just selected just a few to practice. Remember that verb that we learned, ser? So we're going to use the word es or son from the verb ser, and we are going to use articles. And we are going to use possessives, and most probably more possessives than not with these little phrases that I had come up with. Let's start with es mi blusa. It is my blouse. See the possessive, my? Es mi blusa. So don't tell me now that you can't speak Spanish. That's a complete sentence. Es mi blusa. There you have it. Let's go to the next one. Son mis pantalones. There, let's pause for a little bit. Un par de pantalones, and now I took away the un par and I say son mis pantalones. It's the same thing as saying un par. You could say son mis par de pantalones, but it's better to use it this way without the par at the moment. It's son mis pantalones. These are my pants. My pair of pants or my pants. Son mis pantalones. And es su abrigo. Es su abrigo. It is your coat. Now, it is your coat if you're talking formally to someone, to a you that is you all respect. It could be it is his coat if you're talking to a he, or it could be her coat if he's talking to a she. So imagine that little word is so powerful, can mean three different things. Es su abrigo. And having practice, I think we do have a last one or two more, I guess, es la camiseta de Pedro. Es la camisa de Pedro. Now this is Pedro's shirt. It's Pedro's shirt. See how many words do we use to just say that? Es la camisa de Pedro. Es la camisa de Pedro. So there we have, just pause here. We have a verb from the verb ser, which is es. We have our definite article la, which we have already learned. We have the new clothing item, camisa. And we have the possessive, de Pedro. And we have a proper name. How many things have we learned in these 7 lessons? And you can put them together and practice like this and make sentences and speak Spanish. And we have another one that is el traje de baño de la niña. Imagine this one. Es el traje de baño de la niña. Let's pause again. It is the bathing suit of the girl. Niña is girl. So, es el traje de baño de la niña. Again, we have a verb. We have the article el. We have the new clothing item, traje de baño. And then we have the possessive, de la niña. Remember the de la niña. I invite you to keep practicing because practice makes perfect, and use other items if you come up with, that you have at home. Go through your closet and get items and say them in Spanish. Let's go now to numbers. In a language, those are the first things that probably we learn when we acquire a language is numbers. We're going to go very briefly on 1 to 31. And you can find this in the workbook in page 41. You will also see some activity. There is an activity of adding and subtracting. And once you know these numbers, you know how to add and subtract, my dear students. Just use these numbers in Spanish. Let's start with, of course, uno. Uno. See, all the letters are pronounced. And then we go to dos. There you have it, dos. Número dos, and then we go to número tres. Tres. Say it with me, tres. And then we go to cuatro. Cuatro. It sounds like Italian. There are many, many of these words that sound alike. And then we go to cinco. Cinco. Now, let's pause here because there are countries that we would hear saying cinco. Like in Spain, they would say cinco with a TH sound, and cinco in other countries, and that's perfectly all right. Notice those 2 C's, they have different pronunciations. C-I, it gets an S or a Z sound, and C-O gets a K sound, so cinco, cinco. And then we have seis, no problem with that one, seis, seis, seis plumas, 6 lápices. And we go to siete. Siete. Now it's number 7. Siete. So let's just say it, recite very, very quickly without looking. Let's say uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very good. Muy bien, mis estudiantes. Let's go to the next one. Ocho. See that O is not ocho, but ocho. O, it comes from down in the throat. Ocho. Open your mouth. It comes. Ocho. That's 8. And that's a CH sound that we learn also in our alphabet. And we go to nueve. Nueve. Now notice I will pronounce every single letter, each letter. Nueve. Nueve. You may also hear people say nueve. That's perfectly all right. Nueve or nueve. Nueve. That's number 9. And number 10, diez. Diez. It sounds quite strong. The diez, it has no accent. Diez. Or diez, like they say in Spain. Diez or diez. That's 10. Let's go to once. Once. And once is 11, just like in French, onze. Once. And we go to doce. Doce. And see that C again is next to an E, and it's a soft C, like an S, doce. And we go to trece. Trece. That's 13. Trece. Trece. And here comes the a little more complicated ones. Catorce. Catorce. And see that C again? We have two C's pronounced differently. Catorce. Now, Don't forget those C next to E's and I's, they take the place of an S. And then the A and the O and the U next to a C takes the place of a K sound. 14. And here comes a hard one, I think. 15. 15. That Q, the U, and the I again. So that U is silent. 15. Not quince, but 15. 15. And we have 16. 16, that's 16. Oh, this is a very, very long one. 16. 16. See the accent so we can pronounce it strongly. 16. See the C and the I? It's an S sound, 16. And it's a joint of 10 plus 6, really. 16. And let's go to 17. 17. Again, 17. It's a very long number to learn. And 18. 18 is 10 together with 8. And that Z of the 10 became a CI. 18. 18. In fact, it's 10 and 8 because that E takes the place of and, written different. And 19. I just want to give you this one because tomorrow we'll learn those numbers in another language. 19. 19. That's 10 and then E and then 9. 19. And lastly we have 20. 20. 20 is 20. 20. Well, my dear students, tomorrow we're going to learn these numbers up until 19 in the Maya language because we're going to study the Indians of Mexico, a very interesting topic. And for now, I would like you to please continue reading your book and continue looking through all these lessons. You will notice that there are times that I jump from one page or topic to another, but I always come back, and that's the way we're going to go in these lessons. And I will let you know the pages, the page number. At this point, I have to say adiós, hasta mañana.